Hello, and welcome to another episode of Shampoo and Booze. This is episode number 26 at shampooandbooze.com.
So, this week, the past 2 weeks actually, we've been staying in Airbnbs. We're traveling on the West Coast.
Yes.
And this is actually, we talked about this before. This is actually how we started to think about doing our own little Airbnb business, was because we were staying in Airbnbs when we would do jobs, around the country.
And we were like, if these people can do it, we can do it.
Seriously.
In our area.
Yeah.
So, our first place was in Bellingham.
Right, in Bellingham, Washington. And it's kind of, and we only talk about these things because as people that now have our own rental, it's always interesting to learn how other people are doing things. And either to, borrow the good ideas or to take note of the things that don't work.
Right.
So we don't make sure that doesn't happen in our own place.
Now, the first place we stayed was, I guess it doesn't sound great saying this, but it's a basement apartment. It's like a separate apartment in someone's house.
Why would that not
I don't know,
be
a
good to say
basement
that?
Sounds like dark and dingy, but it was a completely finished basement.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was like a walkout basement. So this couple had one kid. They had a huge house, and they decided to turn their walkout basement that's totally finished into an Airbnb to make extra cash. And I actually noticed that a lot when we stay places.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common thing.
Right.
Like, I guess people buy houses and they might even think, well, we'll just help pay the mortgage with renting out a spare room.
Which is really smart. And Airbnb obviously gives the infrastructure for short-term rentals. Because before, people would do it as probably a long-term apartment. So the short-term is more profitable.
Well, I mean, it was perfect for us because, number one, it was cheaper than a hotel. So where we were working, it was a couple miles away.
Right.
It was, definitely cheaper. It was like $70 a night or something.
Yes,
averaged out. And it had, a little place to prepare some food and, a shower, a place to sleep.
Yeah.
And then what we always love, had a big table so we could actually work.
Yeah, and it had Wi-Fi and all that stuff. And it was in a really nice neighborhood that was next to this, like, walking trail. And you could walk to, like, grocery stores and restaurants, and that was quite nice.
But here's the deal, though, and this is, I'm a man.
Yes.
A dude. So this place was actually run by the husband.
Yeah.
And you could tell. Like, I will acknowledge these things. So when a guy very often is the one in charge, it felt like it. It was like the most bare bones kind of place.
Very sparse.
Yeah, just like a bachelor guy would do.
It wasn't dirty.
Nope, it was clean and tidy. It was just very sparse, and there wasn't really any place to put your clothes. I mean, those are the things we always talk about. So you end up just throwing your stuff in the corner on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up putting my clothes in the spare linen closet in the bedroom.
Right.
It's not really for me, but I kind of move stuff to put my stuff in there. The other thing too was, these are little things, but they do make a difference. There was barely any shampoo left, just a little bit in the bottle. So I was tipping the bottles upside down. They're falling in the shower. I'm just are you giving me shampoo or not?
and the things that we noticed early on is, normally when you go into a place, there's all these light switches everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you live there, you just know which light goes where. But if you're somewhere new, we're always turning on and off lights. And by the time we actually figure it all out, we leave. So it's just put a note on the lights.
And the thing about that finished basement, I don't know if they had redone wiring or whatever, but half the light switches didn't do anything. Yeah. So you're
So that's what we actually have done in our Airbnb, is that we just got a labeler.
Like a little brother printer labeler.
And just put a little note under each little light switch that said what light that turned on. And so,
the other thing, too, is, it seems like if there are weird quirks with your house or apartment, you have to tell people. The first quirk was the hot water in the shower and the cold water were switched. So I'm turning it all the way up to get hot water, and it's freezing. So I basically took a cold shower the first night. I was I don't know what's going on, but I'm already in the shower. Yeah. And then the next day he was oh, you have to put it at, this setting.
Well, I mean, he should just fix it.
He should fix. Well, that's what I'm saying. And so the other quirk was, if you had the space heaters going and you tried to use the microwave, you blew the fuse. And he told us where the fuse box was. It was upstairs in the garage, which was fine. But I accidentally blew it twice. So it's things like that where you're like, rather than tell people how to fix the fuse box, just get a better fuse,
well, I think that's a good example of, when people turn like spare rooms or spare basements into these rentals, he was trying to do more than what the space could handle. Right. So he didn't have a kitchen, but he had like a long table with like a microwave and a water heat coffee maker, and he had it on outlets that just couldn't handle that. So if you had on too many things at one time, it would blow. So like you said, he told us how to switch it back on.
Right.
But that's it's low rent.
Right.
What you should do is either, put extension cords in a nice way and put things on its different outlets. Right. So they don't break, or, hire someone to come and fix it
the
to where
breaker
it
so
can
it can handle more. Yeah.
And also, I guess for us, we would have probably paid more if there was an actual kitchen, even just like a simple place to prepare small meals. Other than that, just with like a microwave and a coffee maker, you end up just, getting takeout.
And microwaving your
and
takeout
just heating
later.
Up things, so it's...
that was tough. But the thing about his space was, it was big enough that there could have easily been a little kitchen. And he could have charged more, I thought.
But anyway, he was super nice, and the thing we always do, we never leave anyone negative feedback or whatever.
No, never.
Because
we've never had a bad experience.
Yeah, everyone's always nice. But then in the private little box, we always just tell them what we would have loved to have seen.
Right. And what did you tell him? Because I don't think we went down like a litany of things.
Oh, I basically just said what we just did. I was just like, it labeled those lights.
Oh, labeled the lights.
The other thing was he had a huge basement, and they actually only had half of it kind of for us.
Right.
And the other half just had like these beds in it, which I'm assuming it's because he allows multiple people. So he has
larger groups.
Whole gangs of people down there. But I was just like, instead of having 10 people stay at your basement, that's too big of a group. Just make it into like a suite.
A sitting area,
where there's, a really nice place to just hang out. Because I felt like I wasn't, other than in the bed and then at the table.
Right.
There was a small couch, but it wasn't very comfortable.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's such like a dude.
Yeah, it's such a dude.
That would have been what I would have done when I was a bachelor.
Yeah, exactly.
So... that's all I told him, and then he wrote back. He was like, great idea.
Well, what's interesting about how he wrote back, and we've noticed this with a couple hosts that we've been looking at, you can give the public feedback, great, love this place, it's so awesome, this person's cool, and then you give the private feedback, hey, you should label your lights. And what the hosts seem to be doing, I've seen this on a couple places, is responding to the private feedback publicly.
Right.
So when you look at their reviews, it looks very odd.
Right, because the person, they'll say like, this is a great stay, she's wonderful. And then its response is this long paragraph like, oh, sorry the hot water didn't work.
Yeah,
I'll make sure there's no ants. And it doesn't, you don't know what the person's responding to, but it's because either the owner doesn't understand that private a message is not public,
right?
Or when you get the email, it allows you to respond, and people are thinking they're just responding
they're privately responding. Right. So if you're a host, you should definitely make sure you're not publicly responding to certain complaints.
Yeah,
when you could just send the person a message. That's what we do if someone's like, oh, I had trouble with the kettle. You're like, oh, okay, we'll fix that. You're not going to put that publicly.
Yeah, like someone told us in our master bedroom that the vents were blowing right on them.
It was too cold.
And they were saying, well, you can buy these things on Amazon that kind of like divert the air.
Yeah, they're vent diverters.
And it was like, great. We were like, great idea.
We bought them right away.
And we put them up.
And they're great. Yeah. And actually, she wrote to us later because I think she was going to come stay again or something. And we were like, we love the vent diverter. She's like, great.
Yeah.
It's funny.
And then we're now staying in another Airbnb.
Yes.
This is going to be our stories of staying in people's
I know.
places.
Well, but this is,
So we're staying in Bend, Oregon. We rented a whole home for like $70 a night. Right?
$70 a night. Yeah, we're here for like 8 nights.
And it's great. I mean, what a deal for the entire house. And it's so interesting because it's a bit of a different system than what we do. The owner just gave us the code to the key.
There's a lockbox for a key.
We just got the key. We got in the house. We've never met her.
Yep.
We just kind of talked to her on messages, and that was it. But it's super nice. This woman's done an excellent job of redoing the house.
I mean, like, this is one of the Airbnbs where you're like, she's doing this and she must have traveled before. Or she just understands what you need when you're staying at a place.
Yeah, full kitchen with, everything we need in here. I mean, one reason why it's great to stay in these places is because we save so much money on food.
Because we go to the grocery store and for breakfast, we both made like 2 great breakfasts, eggs and toast, and it cost us almost nothing. But if you go to the store...
Super cute breakfast.
It's super cute. They're very professional. But if you go to the diner and then you want to have lunch, it's just like, I just want, ramen, basically.
Right. So that's good. And we can just tell that this owner, who, again, we've never met, she's just really invested in quality. Like, everything is good quality.
Like, it's one of those things where you're like, in the bedroom, there's tons of closet space and drawer space, and you're like, great, they actually thought of this. Like, people want to put their clothes away.
Right. And we like it because everything's just out of here. So it's not like if you're walking into a home where there's stuff piled up or, I don't know, where you feel like you have to move things out of, just everything is clean, and there's places to put our clothes, shelves and hangers.
Full bottles of shampoo and shower gel. Thank you very much.
It really is nice.
I mean, it felt so good coming from the other place. The other place was fine, but like you said, it was a bachelor pad compared to this is an Airbnb house. Clearly it's for people that come stay and have a nice stay. It's completely redone. Yep. It's a vintage house from the probably 40s. Right.
And it's great too. We can clean our clothes. There's a full washer and dryer with soap, and it's nice.
It's really nice. And I think that I see, and she labeled the light switches. Yep. I'm like, that's right. No, seriously, in the bathroom there's all these light switches and they're labeled. You're like, thank you. You totally know what you're doing. So now, that's a nice change.
Now, we are not everybody, obviously, and our tastes will be different from other people's, but she has a small TV, and it's actually, she's got actually cable or something like that.
Yeah, some kind of direct TV or something.
Where, you can actually watch TV channels.
Right.
And I will say this, for us, we don't need TV channels. I don't actually want to watch TV.
Right.
What I do want is a large screen that I can plug my computer into or have the ability to watch.
Like Netflix.
It's Netflix. So that's, I think, and that's one thing she doesn't have. She's got a little tiny screen. It might be
I mean, it's 15, not much bigger than our computer screens, honestly.
It's 15 inches and but she's, she pays for television,
right?
Which can't be cheap, and so I would love to tell her, and I'll just, say,
put that in the remarks.
What we would love again is just have a big screen, so then we can just hook up our computer, or just log into its Netflix account, so we can watch a movie.
Right, exactly.
So I think that's what, and I remember when we started our rental, we were really going back and forth between what do we offer?
Yeah.
Do people want to come and watch TV, or should we just do DVDs and just have a DVD player?
Right.
And we just ended up doing where we have an Apple TV.
Yeah.
We have internet, and we actually have a Netflix account already logged in,
right? That
they can watch, or they can log into their own stuff.
And I've seen people log into Hulu and iTunes,
HBO Go.
Yeah, HBO Go. They have their own accounts, so they just use the interface.
Yeah, people can log into NFL.com, MLB.com.
Yeah, all that
so
stuff.
they want to watch sports.
Yeah.
ESPN, you know.
We also tell people too that there's a couple bars that play games. You know, if there's like a game they want to watch, they just go down to the sports bar and, you know, hang out there.
I don't think those are really the kind of people we attract, but
that is
if they want to,
that is a possibility.
I will say we did get a comment recently, a good one, where we have the big screen TV in the main bedroom.
The master suite.
Right. So there's a big screen right there. And someone said that they really liked that it wasn't downstairs in like the common area.
Yeah.
Because that meant that when everyone was just hanging out, there wasn't this desire to just turn the TV on because there was a TV. Right. They all had to just figure out, play games, talk to each other, stuff like that. And then the master bedroom is big enough with like couches
that other people can come watch stuff together. Yeah, exactly. That was kind of actually we went back and forth forever where to put TVs. We were like, do we put one downstairs, one upstairs, and one in the writer's cabin? Like, do we just have them in every room? And, you know, and the front room, the configuration of the front room is weird because there's an entrance from the front porch and there's an entrance from the hallway. And we were like, where would we put this TV? Like, so we were like, let's just not even put one in there. Yeah. It worked fine. Yep. So the funny thing is, so we're staying in Airbnbs, and obviously we have an Airbnb being run for us by our friend at home. Which we can talk about more. But my sister, who lives in Boston in an apartment building, said that she decided not to get a roommate, and she is renting one of her rooms in her apartment, because it's like a 3 to 4 bedroom, basically, on Airbnb.
Right. She did her math, and if she can rent it out 10 nights a month, she basically makes as much as a full-time person. But she's gonna, you know, kind of see how that goes, because it just means more like meeting people and having just different people in your house, and
and cleaning and coordination. And she has another roommate who's a friend of hers from high school, actually, college or whatever. And we were like, you got to make sure your roommate's okay with this, because my sister, just to explain, my dad owns part of the building. He owns it with other people, so she's kind of like the landlord. So she has the ability to like make this decision, basically, if she, you know, how she gets roommates and how she does the room. So it's funny that she's like, yeah, he seems cool with it. I'm like, is he going to be cool with it when there's like a German couple making coffee at like 6 a.m. in your apartment? Because you have to be okay with this stuff like that, you know?
But, you know, she lives in a part of Boston where, as we told her, it's like we've talked about it's before. If you live in an urban area that people want to come to, and you have a room to rent, I mean, once you put it on the market, you'll be booked 90% of the time without doing anything. Like, you'll have so many people, you'll be
turning them away.
Then you can pick and choose who comes, and
which is great.
And she already put it up there, and she already had its bookings like almost immediately. We
were psyched. I mean, I was like, we have to call my sister. Like, we have to talk about the details. You know, you got to do this. You got to make sure you do this.
We can interview her later if she actually goes through with it.
I think after this summer, we should interview her and just see how it's going. Because it's definitely more work than just getting a regular roommate.
So just the final thing about this is, so since we're on a trip and we're gone for almost a month, we've continued to keep our place for rent back home. Right. And the way we've done that is we've hired basically a friend of ours who is a local, and he's been taking care of it. Yep. He meets each renter. Yep. Gives them his phone number, and is like, and we make sure that they know that he's their contact, and he cleans. Yep. And we give him 20% of its profit, which is. Comes out to about, if someone stays for 2 nights, it comes out. I mean, it's comes out to almost $100. Yeah. So, you know,
and you know, if we're gone for a month, there's like 6 bookings right now or whatever. So
yeah, and you know, and for him, obviously, it really pays off when someone books for 5 nights, because he only has that upfront work, and then But for us, it's more important to have someone like him who we can trust and who I can be texting back and forth, and there's constant communication, versus if we were just to hire like a cleaner, who just cleaned, and then we just gave like a door code, and hope that that worked out. I bet in most cases it would work out.
Yeah.
It's just if there was a problem, it would be more difficult to figure out, okay, who is going to solve this problem.
Right, because he's there. Like last year, one thing happened where the AC went out, and it was this tiny little capacitor on the AC unit outside, and he took care of it. I mean, he called the place. It was like, you got to take care of it.
We could have done it. We were in Amsterdam, and we could have, I'm sure, called the local guy, and but because of time differences, and then it just starts eating into the whole point of us being out of town is to enjoy ourselves.
Right.
And so, for us, I guess he's basically like a property manager.
Yeah, he is.
Versus a cleaner.
Yeah.
But
so how I think of this is, you know, a lot of times I'm like, let's just shut it down when we're away so we don't have to think about it. We don't have to worry. But then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, that is money we would not make otherwise. And like, you know, the cost of paying him is minimal compared to what you're making. So you're like, either you make no money and he makes no money, or you make money and he makes money and everybody wins. So that's kind of how I have to think about it. Because at first I'm like, I don't want to pay someone. You know, that 20% is a good amount of money.
Sure.
But then it's like, well, we wouldn't make any money if we shut it down until we got home. So that's kind of the thought.
Yeah. So and it is different for us because our place is like a separate house.
Right.
That is a full-time place to rent versus if it was our own home, you know, then that might be a different thing.
Yeah, true.
Okay, one thing we just wanted to mention is, you know, we always talk about Airbnb, that's where our places are rented. Our place is also rented on VRBO or HomeAway. And we've talked about where really, I say it's like 75% of our nights are done on Airbnb.
Right.
It might even be more.
Yeah.
But and then the other is on HomeAway or VRBO. I wish they would just pick a name.
I don't know. There's like some.
But they actually just got bought by Expedia.
Yeah.
So there are some changes happening, and they just put out something saying that it was kind of a weird structure. You know, unlike on Airbnb just takes a piece of the.
Yeah, they take a fee, a percentage.
A fee each time someone rents, and it seems
like 3%.
Totally makes sense. And they also take it from the person that rents, so they get a piece of the action on both sides.
Right.
They have a taste on both sides.
Yeah, well, they should.
Its VRBO was different because the owner, had to pay a subscription fee every year.
You could choose. You could have them take a percentage, which was way more than the subscription.
10%.
Yeah, it was like 10%.
Or you can buy a subscription, and it was kind of really old school. You could buy a different subscription for how high you wanted your place to rank. So basically, you're buying for placement.
Right.
So if you just pay, it was like $340 or something.
Yeah, it was like the lowest one.
For the lowest, they call that classic, and basically, I guess they just stuck you at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then if you paid, I think it was up to like $2,000.
Yeah.
You could have the buy box, I guess, you know.
You're just like up top. Now, Anna, she's in California, but she has a place in Colorado. She said she was paying like the it's called like platinum or something.
And she said it worked for her.
Yeah, it worked great.
But to me, it's like that's a really old school way of doing it, where you're buying placement. Now that Expedia has bought it, they're basically changing it all to be more like Airbnb, where where now you just pay a yearly fee. There's only one fee now.
I think it's $350, which was the lowest fee before.
Everyone pays the same fee, and then our search placement will be based on, you know, how good your reviews are.
Right, as it should be, I think.
You know,
it's like eBay.
Right, just like do you
have a quality listing?
All those things,
So, do you have a good description?
So that's actually really good.
For us, it's great. I hope we get more bookings on HomeAway.
And also, before, they did not charge the person that actually rented. They just charged us who had the home, and now they're changing that to be more like Airbnb, where they'll take a taste on both sides.
Yeah, so it seems like you think that it's evening out for them, you know. So it's instead of us paying $1,500 a year to get high placement, they're getting fees from your bookings, and they want you to get more bookings that way. That makes sense, you know.
So we'll see. I mean, we were skeptical of them, and and again, most of our bookings don't come from them, but we get enough to where it work out, and it seems like the people that book from there are oftentimes people that stay for a week.
Yeah, it's like vacation.
It's like the dad or mom are like planning a yearly it's vacation, and they go on home away because they want to rent a whole home.
Exactly. That's what we've noticed. So that's interesting. That's good. I would like more bookings from them. Absolutely. One thing I wanted to mention is we actually did put a cleaning fee on Airbnb. We didn't have one before. We put a $25 cleaning fee, which isn't super high, but it's kind of helping evening out the fee that Airbnb takes. So I'm just trying to like get it a little higher, but I don't know when I'll change that price, but for now it's $25.
Yeah, I mean, we've been going back and forth. I know for us, when we rent Airbnbs, I tend to avoid the ones that have a high cleaning fee. Like, I mean, sometimes you'll stay in a place and the cleaning fee's like $50 or $75.
Right.
Now, where we're staying at, the cleaning fee is $50.
Oh, really? They have a $50 cleaning fee here?
Yeah. But the thing is, we're staying for 8 nights.
Yeah.
So it kind of, I'm like, all right, $50, or we're there for a week. I get it. But sometimes we'll only rent for two nights, and they want a $50 cleaning fee.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy to me.
It's crazy to you, but the thing is, like, when I've been thinking about the river house, I'm thinking about putting a $50 cleaning fee because I think we might have to hire someone to clean.
Yeah.
So that helps pay for those people.
I get it, but I mean, I am a conflicted person.
Yeah.
If you're hearing my affliction, is because, as a renter, I'm just like, well, just put it into the cost of the house. Like, just, make the cost of the place higher if that's the way that you want to do it. But if I see that huge fee, I'm just like, oh, you're nickel and diming me.
I know.
But on our farmhouse, we're doing an experiment. Like, are people willing to pay a cleaning fee?
Right.
Because, if you stay in a big house,
it's a lot
it
of
takes
cleaning.
us time. It takes us 3 hours, 2 people.
I mean,
and so, I don't know. We're doing an experiment. People don't seem to balk at $25. I kind of don't want to do it higher.
I know.
I mean, how high would you?
I have no idea. Okay. I haven't really thought about it. But I hear you. Yeah, we're conflicted because we travel and we're like, we're not paying this much, and I'm like, but I'm definitely charging people that.
But the business owner in me probably says the same thing. A lot of it you were thinking right now. I mean, a house just
you gotta.
If you hire a person, they probably charge $75 to come and clean
the whole
house. So that's a cost.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
confliction. Or whatever.
So let's talk about the river house. The driveway, we've decided to get a driveway.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping this is interesting for people, and we love to hear feedback to how people would want this info transmitted to them. So we have one Airbnb house that we fixed up, is a rented, making us cash. We bought a second house that we're now in the middle of fixing up.
Yeah.
And we love to share that info, and we just want to hear how much detail they want.
Yeah.
So one thing we've talked about is this cabin is up on a hill.
Yeah.
And the only way to get up there were steps.
Like 40 steps.
It's basically you're going from the first floor and you got to walk up like a 3 stories.
Yeah, basically.
To get to this place.
Right.
And that's how it's been a rental for a long time.
Yeah.
So people had been doing it
forever.
So our thing is, well, let's make it stylish and make it a luxury and actually build a driveway up this hill.
Yeah, so you drive up the hill, you get out of the car, you walk to the house.
And, so we're like struggling with it, and we finally found a local guy who we really love, who knows, got a lot of big equipment.
He's an excavator.
Ken, did you do this? And he comes over and he's like, no problem.
Like, no problem. And the quote right now is $10,000. $10
to $12,000.
Which is exactly what I thought the quote would be. So,
but to me, that's amazing. Is like, he's going to he's going to like knock down these trees and like go up a hill and gravel it. And I'm just like, and it will totally change.
It will change the house.
So that's something we're doing.
I mean, the minute it was our stonemason, we were standing up on the deck, and he's like, "You should get a driveway up here." And I was like, "Oh God, don't tell me that, because I definitely want that."
Yeah.
It's expensive.
So I'm sure, as you guys know, almost any problem can be solved.
With money.
Just takes money
and time.
But I think we can charge more for it, or at least we can feel comfortable charging
more
what we want for it, because there won't be any moment where people are like, "Oh,
I gotta go up the stairs.
I'm paying how much for this?" So yeah. Anyway, and when we get back home, we'll be home all summertime, and that's when our goal is to finish this place and get it up and rented. And we're going to go back, and it's just going to begin. We have the money now. We've doing these jobs. We like to pay for all of our renovation in cash. And
we have a chunk of months that we'll be home that we can crack the whip on our contractor, basically. So that's exciting.
Okay, so numbers for this week.
Yes.
So this past week we rented only 2 more nights.
Yeah.
It was a weekend in June. It's been kind of quiet. I guess we had a crazy great April because that was like spring break time.
Yeah.
Families and people were off, and so we booked like 25 nights in April.
It was crazy.
And that's what we want. So in May we only have 12 nights booked. We like to have 20 nights booked.
Yeah.
All of our weekends are taken.
Yeah.
So we can always guarantee that weekends,
Yeah.
Fridays and Saturdays, sometimes Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, but that those will always get taken, which is great. We've always said it's a weeknights that are tough.
Yep.
So our goal is 20 nights. So we hope we get some it's minute people who book up some of our weekdays.
Yeah, I'm hoping. And, Airbnb is notorious for those people. I mean, they will just say, "My wife and I have Monday through Thursday open, we're taking off of work and we want to come out to the country. And it's tomorrow."
Yeah.
And you're like, great, I love those people. So that tends to happen. But the thing about May and part of June is school is not out. So families generally are not doing their vacation thing yet. So we noticed that last year. April was great. May was pretty great. And then June, I was like, what's up with June? And then I would talk to people in town, and they're like, school's not out till the 17th or whatever. I'm like, oh, man.
So we're trying to think of if there's anything we can do to spur people to come out.
I don't know what we could do.
I don't know.
Besides change our prices, which I don't want to do.
So in 2016, out of 365 nights, we have booked 149 nights. So we're almost to 200. We have 50 more nights.
200 is our goal.
Yeah, 200 nights for the whole year is our goal.
Yeah.
So we have 50 more nights, and that's good because we still have most of the summer to book.
Right.
We have in the fall, people haven't even barely touched that.
Yeah,
so.
and they will. They definitely will. Okay, so you can email us or call us with questions or comments. The phone number is 540-407-8486. And you have 3 minutes to leave a message on the voicemail line.
Yeah, and I'd really love to hear from anyone that has ever bought a house to rent on Airbnb or like a condo, and how extensively they chose to renovate it. Like, are they doing like us, where we're kind of being a little crazy and anal about it, where we're really going for it and doing like, we're doing like the lifetime renovation versus, I don't know, are other people thinking it's smarter? It's just to kind of do it quick and dirty.
Right.
I don't know.
So we do have one call.
So I've listened to most of your podcasts, and don't take this in a negative way, but I feel that you are living in a sheltered Airbnb life. I just got done with your, lack of better words, whining about the spilled barbecue sauce. I think everything has to do with what market you're in. Like, you take me, I'm in Rosarito Beach in Mexico. You can look up my listing. It's 5-bedroom hacienda, I think is what the hook is there, or facebook.com, Baja Grand Popotla. I guess what I'm calling you about is worried about some of your naiveness about going into it thinking that all people are good. I do happen to have my own cleaning staff that, yes, I stand there and watch them. Yes, I personally check people in. But I was even touching back to where people lied to you about the number of people, where my house has a maximum of 10 allowed, and I don't charge extra. But I had people anticipate. But I have to tell you, I think maybe you're a little trusting, or the fact of the market that you're in the glowing picture. I continue to do Airbnb on a weekly basis, and I think that everything is definitely based on your market. So it sounds like your place is beautiful, but I guess my advice to you is, unfortunately, people lie to us all the time, and I hate to give a negative tune to it, but if I can help anyway with shining a slightly less rosy picture on it, feel free. My name's Jason, and where we're so hilarious about 180 degrees out, even down to the name of your podcast. Every time I hear you mention why you name it, those are the two things you will never find left in my house. Even if I've left a few beers in my refrigerator, there is not one stitch of alcohol left, and then I use all hotel-style shampoos, and every single shampoo bottle is missing. So I think I'm going to have to call mine never an ounce of booze or shampoo. Have a good evening.
Great, yeah. So this is a good comment. I mean, we're really glad that this person called, because we've said that everyone's going to have kind of a different experience based on where they are.
Yes.
So this gentleman sounds like he's on the beach
in Mexico.
So that brings to mind all of a sudden people who party.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Because you've partied in Mexico. So
growing up in Texas, that's where you go. But people go to Puerto Vallarta or whatever it is. I mean, you like anyway, and so that's kind of what you might be getting. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, and here's the deal: if you are having a problem with renter after renter after a renter, each time it's just like it's a huge mess and people are partying. I mean, you may want to rethink how you're doing your place. Like, are people renting your place because they think it's a party place?
Right. Could you raise your prices to price those people out?
And by raising your prices means that you have to raise the quality of the place because people will want to pay more. And and I guess you also have to think, like, are there enough families or non-party people who come to your area and that would be willing to pay a higher price?
Right.
For us, that's worked. I appreciate the fact that this guy thinks we're a little naive, which we are in our first year on Airbnb.
Yes,
however, we've actually been selling on eBay since 2008.
Yeah.
And we feel like that experience has really prepared us because, we've sold 10,000 plus items on eBay, and each of those is an experience with a person, and we've dealt with a lot of angry and grumpy kind of people that buy things, and so we understand about how you have to deal with people.
Right.
And a lot of it is setting expectations correctly. I think for our place, we've just tried to really raise the bar for what's in our area.
Yeah.
And there are people that come to party in our area. They go stay on a river and they drink beer and
they
watch
want a cheap
football.
And they want a cheap place and a place that'll hold a lot of people. And we don't have, that's not what we have.
Right.
So people definitely come to barbecue and drink and, we've seen that kind of stuff happen at our house, but we set, Jay especially, because he's the one who communicates with people, he sets up that expectation before. Like, there's a group of 5 guys coming in June, and it's a bachelor party, essentially. And Jay just said it right out. He was like, if this is a bachelor party, it has to be a mellow bachelor party. No music. We have neighbors, stuff like that. Like,
you can play music.
No. But you're saying like no loud noise and stuff. This has to be like a mellow.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, totally. We're totally nerds. We're just coming to go hiking. So
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so we appreciate this caller, and maybe call back, or we'd love to hear from other people that kind of have something to say on this. Okay, we do have an email that a gentleman wrote in. He's actually from Spain, so
cool.
Him and his family have some really, he showed us his website, and they have some really beautiful apartments. Like,
yes.
So, and he said that he agrees with 90% of what we say, but he says there's 10% he just doesn't agree with.
So we asked him, what is that 10%?
Yeah, and so he actually wrote us back, and he had this really cool idea. So he said this. He said that when people check in, the way they like to do it is they're communicating with people, and they give people the code to get into the apartment.
Right.
He lets people go in on their own. And then he comes half hour after they arrive. So they've had half an hour to kind of like explore the place themselves.
Flip around.
Put their stuff down, kind of just like cool off.
Yeah.
And then he meets them and goes over any details.
Right.
And that's an interesting way to do it.
It's really interesting because then, first of all, you let go of the stress of what time are they going to be here? We're waiting for them. They said 4, it's 4:45. You're like, just text me when you get there and I'll be there in a half an hour.
Right.
That's kind of great.
Right.
It's self-check-in, but you also get to meet them.
And when we check people in, they pull up and they're just out the door and we're standing right there.
We're like waiting for them.
These hoteliers.
Hoteliers, yeah.
And then it's kind of like a whirlwind showing them around. That being said,
right.
As a renter, like in this house, I kind of like the idea of either you give me the code and let me figure it out, and I'll just send you a question.
One or the other, yeah.
Or it's meet me and then go over what you need to go over and then just leave.
Right.
I kind of don't like the idea of like someone might just pop in while I'm in the house.
Yeah.
Because, it's once I'm in the apartment,
I'm acting like it's mine.
I feel like it's my home, and I don't want to feel like someone's just going to pop in. Now, I know what this guy is talking about, Juan, is saying that, he just comes over right after they come.
Like it's pretty soon after.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
I guess my concern would be is that there might be the expectation that someone could just pop over.
Right.
Then I'm not really feeling like it's a home to me. And the other thing is, I feel like because we've set up our Airbnb so well, not to toot our own horn, but I think we've thought through everything. When I take people through, there's just a handful of things I'm showing them. Other than that, everything else is self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's a house. People live in houses.
Right. I mean,
get it.
So, and if there was anything where I have to be like, well, be careful of this and this, you have to like kind of like jiggle it some. Those are things you don't want in your rental.
You should fix those things.
If you're having to tell people all these exceptions of what they, against what they're expecting, then you need to fix those things. Kind of like when the rental where the hot water was switched.
That is literally the first thing he should have told me.
No. But he shouldn't have to tell us
He
that.
should have to
like, don't have things where you have to tell people, oh, it's different from what you normally do.
Right.
Just because I don't want to fix it.
Right.
Just fix it. Like,
fix it, yeah.
This is woman, the one we're staying in now, it's so nice because she could just give us the code and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, she just had to give us the Wi-Fi password and we can figure everything out.
Everything's self-explanatory.
That's really how it should be.
Right, exactly.
But I do appreciate what Juan says. That is a much more kind of casual, cool way to do it. So, we might think about that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting way of doing it.
All right, so if you have any comments or ways if you do things differently from us, again, we love to hear those things because we certainly are not experts.
Okay, you can call our voicemail line, and again, the phone number is 540-407-8486. Okay, that's it for this week. You can check out the blog and comment and discuss things and join the conversation, and that is at shampooandbooze.com. We post an episode every Sunday night or Monday morning. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or through YouTube so you get the latest episode. And if you're interested, you can listen to our other podcast where, as we say, we sell stuff that we scavenge on eBay and Amazon to fund our Airbnb renovations. And that's at scavengerlife.com.
Bye.
Bye.